Hey, what's up everybody? This is Joshua Casper. I'm here with Plugin Boutique, and today we're taking a look at Clone by Sonic Faction. Clone is a Max for Live instrument that takes more than a few samples from the classic Roland SH-101 monosynth and combines them in a more modern style format where instead of just mono, you can go poly. We've got some great filtering options and obviously envelope shaping, LFO, FX, arpeggiator, presets and everything. And even this cool morph section right here, which we're going to go into in a little bit. But what I figured we'd do in this video is just kind of walk through everything from the left to the right so we can get a broad overview of the device and what it's capable of. Okay, so here's the initial patch. So as you can tell, it's quite beefy. It sounds really nice. We've got a master volume control. We've got the option to have it mono or polyphonic. There's a detune amount and glide. So this actually goes up really high, and I kind of really like that. Here are the oscillator controls, and there's the main oscillator here. So this is going to be the octave at which it plays, and this is going to be the volume of the oscillator itself. The next one, we have a pulse width modulation amount that's applied to that first oscillator, the NZE. I'm not quite sure what that stands for, but it's just going to give you a different type of modulation. Then there is the sawtooth oscillator, which is going to be your second oscillator, which you can again adjust the amount here. And again, the NZE is just going to give you a different type of sound. It's going to move it a little bit. Then there's the sub, which isn't really a sub unless you're playing low notes, but you do have the option between 1 and 2 octaves below the current note. So. finally, there's a noise slider where you can add a little bit of noise to the signal if you want to get even more retro sounding. So that's the main section there of where you're going to be mixing and matching and using FM synthesis to create whatever sound that you want. And then the next spot you can jump into is the Delta Triangulator, which is a pretty nifty, pretty unique style way to adjust LFOs to different parameters. So up here at the top, this is an A, and that stands for amp. And then we have the LFO rate and the LFO type for the amp. And that can be adjusted by these two circles here. If you click on the little dot and drag it up and down, you'll get different results. So if I play this now, so this inside circle is going to give us a different style LFO, like between a sine wave and a triangle. And this one over here is going to actually adjust how fast it happens. Then we can switch over to the filter section, which has its own set of LFO rate and LFO types. And the P over here stands for pitch. So again, you're going to have the two LFO rate and LFO types that you can adjust just to affect the pitch of the sound. So as you can see, we haven't even gotten into the filter, envelope, shape, LFO, FX, arpeggiator, and presets over here, and we've already got some really unique, definitely retro sounding sounds. Filter, pretty standard stuff over here. You've got a filter, you got a 12 dB, 24 dB, different filter types, and your standard frequency, resonance, velocity, key. Then you have your ADSR filter, envelope, again, ADSR envelope. You also have a pitch envelope. You can do some shaping over here. And again, you have some ADSR capabilities for the FM grid right here, and you can actually apply different types of waves to it. Here's the main LFO section where you can apply two more LFOs on top of this Delta Triangulator. There's an effects section which has just a ton of great sounding effects. Saturator, chorus, auto pan, delay, redux, and frequency shifter are built right into the plugin, so you don't have to add anything extra. Then there's the arpeggiator, which is really cool. Let's go into the presets real quickly and choose. And as you can see, there is quite a few presets inside of here. I'm going to choose this pluck lead. Sounding really great. And if I come into the arpeggiator to turn it on, you activate it by hitting the A, and then you have to turn the rate up. So that's pretty cool, but what gets really crazy is the fact that you can have two arpeggiators at the same time. So you can imagine if you spend a lot of time in here, you're going to be getting some crazy, intricate, and unique sounding output from this device. Presets, quite a few presets. I mean, let's be honest here, that is a ton of presets. We've got arpeggios, bass, pads, leads, and effects. And what's really cool is this morph graph over here. And what this is, it is the precursor for the Hypermorph Max for Live plugin that Sonic Faction just put out. That's also on Plugin Boutique, and I highly recommend it. I got to check it out a few weeks ago. But this is a more simplified version of that. And that is, you can take a preset, either factory or user made, and apply it to this section here. So I've just had this pluck lead, and I hit this one. So now this gray circle here is where this preset will be applied. And if I click inside of here, we'll be able to hear that. But what I can do is actually add a few more, up to 4 different presets here. And just click here, and one more. We'll put this on 4. And now it doesn't really blend them together like it does in the Hypermorph plugin, but it does use frequency modulation to change the sound depending on where you place the little crosshairs here. So those 4 sounds combined together using FM synthesis gives us a whole new range of different sounds. So really we have all of these presets times 4 because we can combine them together to make different sounds right inside of this morpher parameter here. So again, this is a really great plugin for that retro sound with a modern interface, and I highly recommend it. I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time.